A boy awakened to an unlimited mana pool. He believed it was the strongest ability on the continent, but he didn't expect to become a bystander when challenging a dungeon, unable to do anything. He was merely used as a tool to provide mana and magical powers to others. Despite being useful to others, it was completely useless to him because only magicians and summoners could absorb and use mana. However, those professions had low roles in a team due to their high mana consumption and low mana pools, requiring protection after their mana was depleted. Fortunately, the boy had another talent to rely on: the ability to copy and paste. He could replicate anything that came into contact with him. It can even replicate its own essence for infinite resurrection. But there is a fatal flaw in it. In a dungeon challenge, the stoneman entered a state of frenzy. After receiving instructions from the magician, quickly gather magical power in hand. Mighty magic is directed towards the magician. Meanwhile, the berserk zombie rushed over in a frenzy. Wizard who has absorbed magical power has doubled in strength. A surge of energy from the sky instantly shattered the stone man, although the replica challenge was successfully completed in the end. But from the perspective of the team leader, the contribution slash made by Zuo Yi is not significant. Immediately ask him to clean up the work. Turns out that Zuo Yi has no other skills except for unlimited mana. Therefore, they have always been able to provide rear support work. In theory, this skill should be the strongest skill, because only wizards and therapists have the ability to absorb magical power. And only when challenging the boss does it require a lot of mana. So Zuo Yi instead became an ordinary member. However, to his surprise, he was dismissed by the guild. Either leave the guild, either transfer to logistics work. According to the infinite mana feature, it can be transferred to the pharmacy department. Just because in their eyes, Zuo Yi no longer has any hope of growth. In the end, he was kicked out of the guild. However, everyone only knows that he can generate mana to provide to his teammates. But it's just a slightly special skill. I don't know his true skills. Copy and paste. And it's a skill that was awakened before becoming a hunter. Can replicate objects that come into contact with it. I saw the same dish appear in his hand. He originally thought it would be an advanced skill, but it has a fatal flaw. The copied object will disappear instantly after leaving the hand. Therefore, it is not possible to copy coins or resell items. In general, weapons in replicas have level restrictions. Cannot be copied when the level cannot be met. Only magic power will not disappear after copying and leaving the body. Therefore, it gives people the illusion of unlimited magical power. Although he also wants to use this method to replicate skills. But it requires some harsh conditions. Suddenly, a news message popped up on the phone. Kalia Longsword will land on the island nation. The longsword has two special reasons that make people flock to it. One is that the longsword itself comes with a prop slot. Defense and strength will increase as the level increases. Another important reason is that the user can increase the level by 200 when using the sword. And the minimum level limit is only 30. As long as Zuo Yi can replicate the Sword of Legends, he can become a high-level Hu. Level 30 is the watershed of hunter level. And now he's only at level 29. The legendary sword will only be displayed as a showcase due to its durability of only 10. But this doesn't have much impact on Zuo Yi. Once touched, it can be infinitely copied and used. And he must reach level 30 within a week. Dungeon Replica. A shelter for giant spiders. Unregistered dungeons of Hunter Association. And here, Zuo Yi is still a tool person providing magic power. After absorbing magical power, the magician's yellow hair instantly burst out powerful flames. Burn all the spiders in the cave to ashes. The energy displayed at different levels will also vary. Prior to this, Zuo Yi had already participated in multiple unofficial organization activities, because most of them are composed of advanced hunters, so the risk factor is not too high. Just as they continued to delve deeper, several spider larvae come into V. Above them, there's Agent Spider that has fallen asleep. Boss. Level 80. Zuo Nua only glanced at it once, but I felt the oppressive feeling of dying at the touch. The first thing to pay attention to when killing giant spiders is the spider silk in front of you. If the young eggs in the nest are broken, the giant spider will enter a frenzy state. Huang Mao suddenly became unhappy about this. As the team leader, explaining to an observer is purely a waste of time. immediately kicked away the stones under his feet. He spider silk suspended in the center of the stone. The strange movement of spider silk awakened the giant spider. A touch of the foot instantly struck. De Zhuang quickly raised his shield to resist. The next second, the foot is instantly chopped off upon contact. Under mutual cooperation, the team is on par with the giant spider. At this moment, Zhuo Yi was hiding behind a pillar waiting to pick up the leak. As long as you defeat the spider in front of you, he can at least reach level 35. But the next second I'll be dumbfounded, faced with the spider silk attack of giant spiders. Huang Mao's brainless use of flame magic. Several flames burst out. The strong man still wants to stop it. It's already too late. At this moment, Zhuo Yi's face was as pale as ashes. Sure enough, under the attack of flame magic, spider larvae have cracks in their eggs. The sudden change made everyone's faces show a look of fear. See the situation. Everyone retreated and evacuated one after another. The giant spider's eyes turned red, emitting a terrifying aura. The fleeing crowd was instantly wrapped in spider silk. At this moment, Huang Mao no longer has the previous aura. Watching the giant spider in front of me enter a state of frenzy, I was so scared that my diaper got wet. Unexpectedly, my foot was touched and penetrated my body. Zhuo Yi was also wrapped around a pillar. The giant spider with bared teeth and a big mouth is right in front of us. 10,000 grass mud horses grazed in my ear. I originally only wanted to level up one. The result was that he died here. The other person's foot brushed past his body. There was a look of terror in his eyes. Can prompt a pop-up window in the next second. Do you want to paste the copied object? Without hesitation, Zhuo Yi chose to confirm. Immediately, a new body was reprinted nearby. After copying and pasting, the original corpse will disappear. But the essence will not disappear. So just in case, before challenging the dungeon, Zhuo Yi would replicate his complete self once. If you die unexpectedly, it will automatically paste, and the original body will dissipate. Every time I watch my body disappear as an observer, I feel very uncomfortable. However, in the next second, the foot was touched and penetrated through the bee. I couldn't help but curse angrily in my heart. Immediately hide after copying and pasting again. The giant spider in front of me is like a towering object. Even with continuous use of skills, it is impossible to escape. Suddenly, a cry for help came from not far away. Searching for the source of the voice turned out to be Captain Qiyong Kenji. Zhuo Yi was caught in a painful decision. Giant spiders are walking towards them. He has no way to help the other party at all. After careful consideration, a decision was made. He can't just stand by and watch. Then he swung a painless knife towards his foot. He's like a mayfly shaking a tree now, but at least it changed the direction of foot contact. Zhuo Yi looked at the upgrade pop-up window in front of him in surprise. This also means that the attack just now was effective, but in the next second it was pierced through the body again. He must leave alive this time for the Kalia Dragon Sword. Utilize copy and paste skills. It's only a matter of time before we defeat the opponent. 3 days later, Zhuo has been resurrected over 50 times. During this period, his combat skills were greatly improved. The giant spider also gradually became weak. Fortunately, the other party does not have the ability to recover. Suddenly, the other party changed direction, spit out several clumps of spider silk from the tail. Zhuo Yi quickly dodged. He has been killed 4 times by this attack method. Facing the foot attack of giant spiders, Zhuo Yi leaped up to dodge, climbed up by touching my feet, swung and chopped towards the other person's head. Unexpectedly, the sword was shattered, falling to the ground due to unstable feet. The recent strike seems to have had no effect, even annoyed the other party. Zhuo Yi couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Suddenly, the other person's eyes swelled up. Then cracks appeared in the body. The next second, it exploded and turned into fragments. Zhuo narrowly escaped death and felt relieved. The upgraded window keeps popping up. He also saved Qiyong Kenji under the spider's mouth. A sudden impact struck suddenly. He looked at the target in front of him with pain. Newly hatched spider cubs, level 30. Zhuo Yi knows that if he were to be killed now, Captain Qiyong Kenji couldn't survive either. But at the moment when the cub flew over, he still chose to protect. At the moment of 1000 June, A sharp blade split the opponent in half, but then more cubs gathered around. Skill: Hell's Fire. The blue flames instantly burned the other party to ashes. Heal Fire is the highest level of fire attribute magic. There are only a few magic hunters who can freely control this. So Zuo quickly guessed the other party's identity, using a magical swordsman known as the Witch's Blade. QISE Hunter. Island Country ranked 5th. Why almost all members of the team were wiped out. The fragmentation of young eggs causes giant spiders to enter a state of frenzy. But she didn't understand why the two people in front of her were able to survive. A low-level hunter defeated the boss, even saved his own companions. Hunter Association Evidence Room. Someone reported that Zuo Yi and his team entered an unregistered underground city. The seven-tailed hunter will appear in a timely manner after submitting the reward spider stick and report for killing the boss in the left field. QISE asked him to go back. Zuo Yi was somewhat surprised. I clearly participated in unofficial activities for black money. The other party was almost completely destroyed. In the end, there was no punishment at all. Dozens of fatal accidents occur every day in the underground city. A consent form for danger will be signed on the entry and exit declaration form. And for the sake of leveling up, low-level hunters will pay funds to challenge unregistered dungeons alongside high-level hunters. Although this is a cheating behavior, but the ultimate goal is to make hunters stronger. So the Hunter Association tacitly approved of this behavior. Zuo can only reluctantly accept this. And the bonus for the spider stick he submitted will be credited to his account in a few days. Zuo Yi stated that he will leave the bonus to the younger generation. QSE looked at the spider stick in front of her and began to think. Even if she's lucky, it is also impossible to complete the attack on the advanced dungeon as a low-level hunter. The man in front of us is definitely hiding something. Sure enough, Zuo Yi grinned in the hallway. After returning to left field and killing the boss, time has passed. The reward is a giant spider stick. Spider sticks and spider silk have the same effect. Exhibits strong adhesion within a certain period of time after use. Available level 40. Seeing this, Zuo couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. I died more than 50 times and only got this kind of glue-like thing. Perhaps it can be used during outdoor camping. So I thought about trying to replicate it. At the moment he touched the spider stick, the spider stick has actually disappeared. This is the first time he has encountered such a situation. Zuo Yi looked at the window prompt in surprise. Spider stick absorbed by existing skills. Enhancement of pasting ability value. Objects can be copied. Evolutionary control. Objects can be pasted. Level 1. There are 3 functional options available. The effect of the functional options shocked him even more. Option 1. Pasting and copying objects can maintain the required time. Type 7. Option 2. 231. Can be pasted anywhere within a certain period of time. Option 3. Can unravel the spider silk of giant spiders. Zuo originally thought that copy and paste was a failed skill. I didn't expect it to evolve. Immediately copied a spider stick. Time 1 minute. At this point, the spider stick will not disappear after leaving the body. After 1 minute, it indeed dissipated into the air. Stars appeared in Zuoye's eyes. And then it kept copying. 100 years. 1,000. Just increasing 1 level resulted in a significant improvement. Think of this. Zuo Yi couldn't help but burst into laughter. Almost mistaken for a mental illness by passersby. Useless talent will become the strongest skill. 2 hours ago, the International Hunters Association escorts the Kali Dragon Sword to the island nation. Hunter Grant, level 112. Hunter Aries, level 131. Professional Magician. The first vehicle passes through the underwater dungeon. Communication will be interrupted due to the influence of electromagnetic waves. And the underwater underground city is also a unique scenery. But if there is a collapse, it will become a disaster. Of Rainbow Bridge Underground City, Yutian and Wu are bored. He picked up the slime on the ground. However, he was not aware of the danger that was looming. The strong man's face showed a look of terror. The creatures in the underground city unexpectedly appeared in the real world. Suddenly, there seemed to be a collision behind me. The strong man looked at the creature in front of him in terror. It turned out to be a huge goblin. He Guay lifted his shield to resist the opponent's meteor hammer. Zuo Nuo has never been so satisfied with his state attributes before. All of this changed after killing the giant spider. When the hunter reaches level 550, they will join the hunting team, just to better adapt to intermediate replicas. In the intermediate copy, upgrading after level 50 will become easier. More rewards can be obtained, especially rare props. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the hallway. I know from their words that an underground city collapse has occurred. The legendary Kalia dragon sword was drawn into it. Listen here. Zuo Yi, who had intended to stay out of the matter, couldn't help but be surprised. The instructions received by the Hunter Association are to protect the trailer transporting the longsword. However, QISE ordered everyone. The top priority is to hunt down monsters and save citizens. Special handling for emergency situations. Suddenly, the crowd caused a commotion. Zuo Yi desperately wants to follow the Hunter Association to the dungeon. QISE was somewhat surprised by this. Zuo Yi explained that although he cannot defeat the monster, but it can guide the evacuation of citizens. Given Zuo Nuo's previous performance, QISE agreed to his request. In her opinion, Zuo Yi is helping others in the giant spider dungeon. He should be a selfless person. He didn't expect the other party to really listen to his nonsense. I'm here 100% for my own purposes. It's less than 3 weeks since they quelled the Rainbow Bridge underground city. Everyone is puzzled. Anything can happen in the underground city. El City collapses once. We cannot guarantee that it will not collapse aga. In order not to repeat the disaster of 15 years ago again, can only prevent as many times as possible. The great disaster 15 years ago, national disaster level underground city collapses have occurred around the world. If the monsters in the underground city are not defeated correctly, the underground city will become saturated and collapse. Emerging from the underground city to the real world, ordinary citizens are simply unable to withstand hellish attacks. In that disaster, Zuo Yi lost his parents. That's when a supernatural force from another dimension appears. His heart was enveloped by a beam of light. Although he gained power, he was also entangled in a curse. A gift with a term of 20 years. At this point, he still didn't understand whether it meant the age of the skill or his own lifespan. And the cursed hourglass continues to fall. 15 years later, the disaster reappeared. That means there are only 5 years left until the last time that force appeared. He has now mastered the evolution and laws of skills. Becoming the strongest hunter is just a matter of time. If we can prevent this great disaster, perhaps we can break the curse. And now the top priority is to replicate the Kalia dragon sword. Meanwhile, unknown creatures have appeared on the Rainbow Bridge. The number of monsters has exceeded expectations. A goblin suddenly appeared behind Yamada at the moment of 1000 F. Due to electromagnetic waves in the underground city, unable to communicate with the outside world, they must walk to the end of the bridge to join the other teams. On the other side, a huge monster smashed towards the trailer carrying the long sword. Bear monster, level 190, and the trailer remained unscathed under Ares' protective magic. As the highest level of protective magic, even at level 400 it cannot be breached. The voice hasn't finished yet. Everyone looked up in disbelief. QISE on the fighter jet also showed an incredulous expression. A towering object appeared in front of everyone. The ultimate boss of Rainbow Bridge Dungeon. Barosha. QISE quickly shouted for everyone to be on guard. I saw the other party spewing flames towards the Rainbow Bridge. The ultimate boss's appearance shocked everyone. Instantly destroy Rainbow Bridge. I saw the enemy spewing flames again and bombarding the fighter jets in the air. The people of Chiesi can only choose to make an emergency landing. Due to the emergence of the ultimate boss, only the strategy can be changed. Ri or at eyes defeating Sparrow Shah. Looking around, I noticed that Zuo Yi was not among the crowd. But there seems to be a premonition about this. He wouldn't die in a disaster of this level. I saw blue flames entwining around the witch's blade. Skill. Hell's Fire. The blue flames erupted and blasted towards the sparrow demon, and he couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. But it made him even more eager to replicate this skill. But he doesn't want to get involved in the battle. The purpose of this mission is only to find the Sword of Kalia and replicate it. Meanwhile, a group of masked hunters appeared. Their goal is also to find the sword of Kali, a dragon. Due to the appearance of the Sparrow Demon, the Hunter Association will definitely prioritize the crackdown. Has no time to attend to it. Zuo Yi felt an ominous premonition as he looked at the body of the wild wolf. Wolves act in groups. At this moment, he discovered the two people from the nearby fields. The strong man has been injured and fallen to the ground, but Shibata did not choose to escape alone. Zuo Ye fell into contemplation. He doesn't want to take care of them, although the individual level of the wild wolf is not high, but their collective actions and attacks are equivalent to the strength of advanced monsters. However, Shibata still did not want to give up on the strong man. Upon seeing this, Zuo Yi couldn't help but feel a bit moved. Same as when I was in the dungeon, watching the wild wolf fly over. Yuta raised his sword and fell. Sudden L. He doesn't ev. Tor. Left. Field. Hits. Kunshin. Causing the opponent to fly away. Yoshida was somewhat surprised by the appearance of Saki no. There are actually other people here, but I still want the other party to escape quickly. Faced with herds of wild wolves, even advanced hunters may not necessarily survive. The corner of his left mouth slightly curved upwards. He also wants to know what effect his skills will have when combined with a spider stick. Can it withstand the collective attack of wild wolves? Several YID wolves covered the left field. Shimoda beside couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Countless spider webs burst out in the next second. Wrap the wild wolf tightly like tentacles. In an instant, they were all bound to get hell. He never expected the attack of the spider stick to be so powerful. The upgraded window keeps popping up. Yamada had an incredulous expression on his face. The opponent unexpectedly defeated the pack of wild wolves in one breath. After thinking for a moment, Zuo Yi bottle off intermediate medicine before leaving. Although the injury cannot be fully healed, but at least they can move freely. The next second, Zuo Yi felt a bit embarrassed and asked where the trailer escorting SRD was located. Into a deep sleep under Aries' hypnotic magic. Suddenly, a black ball flew rapidly towards them. Grant raised his sword, fell and split it open. Quickly detect someone ambushing nearby. But no blue mist emerged after splitting the black ball. Then a group of masked hunters appeared in front of us. The masked man in charge rushed up in an instant. Grant quickly blocked with a horizontal sword grid. As a guard, he has long been accustomed to this. Under the swing, repel the opponent. Just as he was thinking about continuing the attack, Aries quickly stopped it. Grant had a violent convulsion. The next second, he knelt down on the ground, spat out a mouthful of tomato sauce. He doesn't understand why this situation happened. Aries discovered that the other party had used some kind of poison. Can hinder the absorption of mana for a certain period of time. If we continue to fight, we may die. The other party speaks frankly, which is their usual tactic. Aries' face was gloomy. I didn't expect the other party to use the poison strictly prohibited by the International Hunter Association without hesitation. She, who has always advocated nonviolence, was also angry. Immediately, the fingers danced and cast magic. The other party believes that Aries is just the end of his rope. Because it can't absorb mana, it's impossible to cast magic at all. But in the next second, he suddenly became decapitated. Aries forcefully cast magic just to awaken the bear monster. The masked man had no defense in front of it and suffered heavy casualties. In the end, I had to choose to escape. However, the attack of the bear monster did not stop. Walking towards Aries and his companions, Grant knew that our S was no longer able to release the hypnotic magic again. But our S still rushed forward and forcefully cast the spell again. You can spit out tomato sauce in the next second. If you can't absorb mana, you can't use skills. Meanwhile, the bear monster with a huge body flew over. The huge bear claws are right in front of us. Her eyes revealed disbelief. Do you want to paste and copy objects? Left field arrived promptly at the critical moment. Countless spider webs bind the bear monster. The bear monster that fell to the ground cannot move. He never imagined that releasing the spider stick would have such an effect. Yuta became his little fan brother directly. After the recent battle, Grant and his companions mistook them for accomplices of the masked thief. Similarly, peering at the sword of Kali, a dragon. Although Zuoye's goal is indeed a long sword, but he doesn't want to confront the opponent with swords and knives. just as he was thinking about how to explain, Yuta took out the identification documents from the underground city entrance. Next to it, there is Lu Huahua in the left ambition. A mouthful of white teeth was exposed. I already have a plan in my heart. Then, with a smile, he took out 2 bottles of intermediate medicine. This is a necessary investment for the Kalia dragon sword. Investigating their identities, Ares looked meaningfully at the bound bear monster. Everyone looked at the group of fighter jets in the sky. It means the support team has arrived. On the other side, QISE Hunter is on par with Keisha. At this moment, the battle suddenly ended and we quickly evacuated. Originally, Keisha has entered the 3rd stage. It will release a wide range of shock waves. The arrival of the support team bought them time to evacuate the citizens. Suddenly, a wisp of black lightning appeared. Is that how you completed the mission of the underground city collapse? The person who came was none other than the dark magician, named Chung Zaki. Future, Guild President, Level 503. QISE doesn't understand why the other party is here. However, the other party's goal was also to defeat the Sparrow Demon. A huge magic circle appeared above the Sparrow Demon. The next second, a black lightning force struck down. QISE quickly asked everyone to escape. The massive body of Keisha collapsed on the Rainbow Bridge with a loud bang. Affected by this, everyone fell to the bottom of the bridge. At the moment of Chen Jun, the spider silk of Zuo Yi entwined and hung the crowd in the air. The trailer carrying the sword of Kalia Dragon was pulled by spider silk. After realizing it, Zuo Yi was shocked by the body of Keisha is right in front of me. Lu was so scared that he quickly covered his mouth and dared not even breathe. At this moment, Chung Zaki arrived here. He didn't expect any survivors either 9. And he's also a low-level hunter. Zuo Yi looked at the badge on the opponent's chest. I knew the other party was the 3rd-ranked future guild in China. I saw the other party drifting towards the still howling bear monster. Then lightly flick the spider silk with your fingers. The incredibly tough spider silk unexpectedly to re-apart, and the bound bear monster seemed to be shattered by a powerful force. Xuanhua couldn't believe he could restrain a monster of level 200 and withstand the spider silk of a 25-ton trailer. Unexpectedly, it exploded instantly with a gentle flick from the other party. The upgraded window keeps popping up, but they cannot receive rewards. Beside him, Chung Chi was somewhat surprised. Surprisingly, it was the low-level hunter in front of us who restrained the bear monster. And the reward received at this moment seems to be a form of theft. Without caring, he immediately threw the obtained bear paws at his feet. This made Zuo Yi feel insulted, glaring angrily at the other person with both eyes. At this moment, Chiseal's D arrived here, belonged to the Hunter Association, and Chisa felt Xuanhou's hostility towards the other party. But she still asked Zuo Yi to evacuate with the citizens, because after Keisha wakes up, there will be a large-scale shock wave. Zuan Q was curious why he didn't attack it while it was unconscious. QISE shook her head. When the boss's health is reduced by 1/3, he will release his ultimate skill. There are 2 attack modes, Berserker and Range Attack, and low-level bosses usually only have Berserker. As the ultimate boss, Keisha has a very high health value. Rampage and range attacks will repeatedly occur. Therefore, it is necessary to carry out a phased crackdown. In the 3rd stage, Keisha will absorb a large amount of mana. At this point, any attack is ineffective. Suddenly, Keisha opened her eyes. The other party woke up earlier than expected. It woke up with a roar of anger. The 2 of them quickly rushed up. Chang-Chi. In his opinion, the death of a low-level hunter in an underground city is as common as an ordinary traffic accident. Zuo Yek knew that with his current strength, he was unable to participate in the battle and fled this place. After rescuing everyone, the situation on the scene was explained. Keisha has entered the 3rd stage. Will release range attack. At that time, this place will no longer exist. Even the trailer and the longsword are difficult to find. Before that, it must be punished. Therefore, it is necessary to oust the sword of Kalia Dragon. Ensure that it will be returned after use. But even so, Grant still disagrees. RS even stated that it is impossible. When Zuo Yi felt that the matter was over, Ares continued speaking. Unlocking the trailer seal requires a significant amount of mana, and due to the thief's poisonous mist, she is unable to absorb it now. Grant couldn't help but be a little surprised to hear this. She actually agreed to the other party's request. But Zuo Yi was very happy. He has infinite magical power. Aries successfully unlocked the trailer seal with the help of Zuo Yi. Immediately jumped down quickly. Grant was curious as to why she agreed. To Zuo Nua's request, Aries explained that Zuo Yi did not kill the bear monster after restraining it. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind Zuo Yi. It turned out to be the masked man who just escaped. The masked man's return and departure were completely unexpected by everyone. Turns out that the masked man did not choose to escape immediately after being attacked by the bear monster. And he never expected to obtain the Kalia dragon sword in this way. Due to the death of the user, giant spider silk will be released. The spider silk pulling the trailer broke. The trailer instantly fell into the water. Explored. 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 The sword of Kali, a dragon, splits the ultimate L-boss Sparrow Shah with one sword. Copy and paste skills cannot be copied due to insufficient level. After encountering a backstab, he unexpectedly absorbed all the attributes of the longsword. However, Zuo Yi, whose life and death are unknown, due to his actions, longsword mysteriously disappeared and its whereabouts are unknown. After the trailer fell into the water. At this moment, Zuo Nua pasted and resurrected, coming behind the opponent. The same sword pierced through the opponent. I am the kind of person who remembers kindness and holds grudges. After speaking, the other party collapsed to the ground. The long-awaited Kalia dragon sword is finally in hand. Can't wait to choose to copy. But I'll be dumbfounded the next second, due to the user's level not meeting the target requirement level. Therefore, the target cannot be copied. Zuo Yi cursed silently in his heart. The long sword can be equipped at level 30 or above. Why can't I equip myself even though I'm already at level 50? Suddenly felt a chill behind me. The masked man just stood up again and swung his sword at him. So he has healing skills that can heal wounds. Immediately picked up the Kalia dragon sword and repeated what Zuo Yi had just said. I am the kind of person who always forgets kindness. A person who repays enemies several times over. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly stabbed towards Zuo Yi. At this moment, there are continuous pop-up prompts. The Kalia dragon sword is integrated with the Yusai. Copy and absorb the ability points of the Kalia dragon sword. Copy and absorb the level of Kalia dragon sword. The user's protection mode will be activated. Enforce berserker skills. Paste the berserker skill of Kalia dragon sword. At the same time, Keisha launched a range attack on the two of them. Changzaki. We have reached an irreversible situation. At the moment when the sparrow demon releases its energy, a huge sword blade exploded from the water. Instantly split open the towering bird demon like a colossal object. The two of them looked at the scene in front of them in surprise. The battle against Keisha has been successful. Dungeon clearance. Hunter Association conference room. No one expected that the underground city that was quelled. The responsibility for this accident has been shifted to the Desien Guild. At this moment, QISE was wondering if Saki no had already escaped, just as the various guilds were arguing endlessly. QISE's palm shattered the table. Chung Zaki, who represents the future guild, is not affected at all. Regarding QISE's behavior, the bald man became angry and embarrassed, and a big battle was about to break out. As the president of the Hunter Association, I appeared in a timely manner to avoid combat. Immediately, QISE showed everyone the scene of killing the sparrow demon, and gave the credit to the nearby Chung Zaki. Only they know. Clearing the dungeon is not their fault at all. Now someone must come out and take the blame, and QISE pushed him out. Must be a lingering grudge against him for intervening midway, and he was also determined to find the bastard who killed Sparrow Shah. QISE scanned the crowd with a cold gaze. The Hunter Association will investigate the cause of the underground city collapse and hold accountable the guilds that delayed support. This statement instantly silenced everyone. Suddenly, Grant and his team representing the International. The sword of Kali Dragon was stolen while escorting the island nation. Hunter Association needs to cooperate with the investigation. The bald man raised a crucial question. When the trailer was attacked, they untied the seal themselves. Aries revealed the situation at that time. This is because the Hunter Takashi Shinoda from the Daisien Guild and the Hunter Sakino from the Hunter Association have requested cooperation. Upon hearing these words, everyone couldn't help but be somewhat surprised. QISE was even more shocked. The president of the Great Sage Guild has acknowledged the identity of Yamada. The Hunter Association does not have the person named Zuo Yi, but Chang-Chi laughed. I didn't expect the opportunity for revenge to come so quickly. In his opinion, QISE and Saki must know each other. Immediately, he deliberately mentioned the left field who was restraining the bear monster at that time, and he thought the other party knew QISE and belonged to the Hunter Association. Now it seems that the other party may be the one who stole the Kalia dragon sword. On the other side, a man scrutinized the long sword in his hand. Kurosaki, level 301, president of Blood Tower Guild. The masked thief in front of him couldn't help but suspect. Is it the collapse of the underground city caused by the man in front of us? Immediately, Kurosaki offered 1 billion as compensation, just when the other party thought the task was over. However, Kurosaki had a mocking expression on his face. You only accepted the mission to obtain intelligence on the long sword. Masked thief sees his deeds exposed, knowing that the other party had planned to kill them from the beginning. Where the sword is, the better. Daitli swung a sword. The masked thief split in half under the sword. Kalia dragon sword durability reduced by 2, remaining 8. Kurosaki looked at the long sword in his hand and murmured, "Don't break it before repairing it." Evolved. Copy and paste skills have evolved into absorption and fusion. Zuo Yi unexpectedly absorbed all the skills and attributes of the Kalia dragon sword. Fury skills that erupt at critical moments. One sword split open the Sparrow Demon, but it was also mistakenly believed by the International Hunters Association to have stolen the Kalia Dragoness word, even to confront him with swords and knives. After the collapse of the underground city, Zuo Yi has been listed as the top suspect for stealing the long. On the other side, Zuo Yi woke up in the hospital. The hourglass at the neck has advanced by half a minute. Suddenly, Takashi Shinoda hugged him tightly, excitedly talking about the situation at that time. A huge flash erupted from the bottom of the sea. The passerby on the side did not expect that the few people in front of him. Seeing the situation, Satoru Shouda was even more talkative. Zuo is also helpless in this regard. De Zhuang, however, stated that it was due to Xiao Tian's actions that Zuo was able to be saved. In order to rescue Zuo, he threatened the search team of the Great Sage Guild. Finally found him by the seaside. He never expected that the young man in front of him could still threaten the Great Sage Guild. Can you think of the name of the president, Makoto Shinomiya? Perhaps they have an extraordinary relationship. Hunter Association President Indoor. Upon hearing the news of Zuo's death, Chisa remained calm and composed. Grant was somewhat surprised. The other party was not surprised at all. In her opinion, hunters are always on the brink of death. The chairman stated that he will fully assist in the pursuit of the long sword. Upon hearing this, Ares instructed the president to dispatch advanced hunters to assist, because she already knows the whereabouts of the long sword. The chairman was somewhat surprised. I can't help but guess if the other party has tracking magic. Originally, the sword of Kalia Dragon was not an accessory item. There is a pattern engraved on it to identify the user's level. Ares sensed that it was used about an hour ago. Grant still wants to stop Ares. Kei Chisa had already investigated this before. 15 years ago, our mother is missing in the great disaster. The long sword is her only clue to finding her mother. This was beyond Ares' expectations. The other party's investigation has reached such a point. Chisa continued to say, "The stolen longsword is a relic of your mother." Upon hearing this, Ares no longer remained calm and stood up, requesting QISE to help her retrieve her long sword. Kei Chisa noticed that the other party seemed to be hiding something. I don't fully believe in Zuo's death. Suddenly, the president of the Great Sage Guild called out to her. I want her to go back to the Great Sage Guild. With the continuous increase of underground cities, the management of guilds is gradually commercialized. If it is confirmed that the collapse of the underground city is due to poor management by the Great Sage Guild, we will hold the guild accountable. That's also the reason why she doesn't want to go back. Immediately shouted father and left. President quickly changed the topic. Ask her to go to the hospital before dispatch. On the other side, Zuo Yi looked at his own state attributes. although we haven't been able to replicate the true form of the Kalia dragon sword yet. But copy and paste absorb and integrate all its attributes and skills. It's actually a good result. Fury skills that erupt before death. It can even tear apart sparrow demons of over 400 levels, and receive rewards for defeating the sparrow demon. Absorb the shockwave skill of K-Sha into replication. Copy evolution. Absorb the shock wave skills in replication into inherent vibrations. The level of giant spider silk has been upgraded to level 2. When using spider silk, both intrinsic vibration and blood-sucking can be used simultaneously. Copy and paste actually added absorption and fusion function. Thinking of this, Zuo Yi had a sinister expression on his face because of the attribute blessing of the Kalia dragon sword. The level has been raised to 276. Zuoye's sinister expression scared everyone and they quickly fled. Suddenly, a loud noise caught his attention. Qise unexpectedly appeared in front of him. He was so scared that he quickly hid. It was Satoru Shinoda who was arguing with her, and the other party actually called Qise's sister. Zuo Yi seemed to have eaten a shocking melon slash as if struck by lightning. He finally understood why De Zhuang said he could coerce the search team of the Dexian Guild, and he thought it was a coincidence at the time. So the two people in front of us are siblings. Xiao Tian revealed the situation where Zuo has not yet died. And I learned from Qise's Moth that he was considered a thief who stole swords by the National Hunter Association. Upon seeing the situation, Zuo Yi had to flee from this place. Until I retrieved my long sword, suddenly turned around and collided with something. Grant looked at him with anger on his face. Zuo Yi couldn't help feeling a bit embarrassed, but the other party grabbed his collar with one hand. The man in front of them actually deceived their trust and stole the long sword. Zuo Yi still wants to explain that this is a misunderstanding. Grant, who could be consumed by anger, was already furious. Zuo Yi instantly sensed danger. Sure enough, Grant took out his sharp sword from the magical space. Ares quickly stopped. She never expected Grant to do such a thing in the hospital. Grant doesn't care at this moment. I just want to make Zuo Yi suffer a little. At the moment of Chen Jun, Zuo Yi had to activate a new replicated skill. Copy and use inherent vibration. Instantly shattered the sharp sword with bare hands. This scene shocked Grant. The commotion caught the attention of the two individuals from Qise. Similar to the shockwave of K-Sha, Zuo Yi looked at the other person with anger on his face. Even clay figurines have 3 parts of fire. I really want to kill myself. On the other side, a girl group concert. Countless fans are crazy about it. Erita Sariong, members of If Idol group, after leaving with other members, intercepted by a black car, stabilized the vehicle at a critical moment. Just as she was cursing at the other person, a man got out of the car, threw the box in her hand onto the hood of her car, sneered at Sha Liang with a face full of mockery. If you want to restore the original state, then let's go to the underground city together.